Okay, so I am back and I have my base. This is the diameter that I want my basket to be. So now for that part, I am done. I'm going to take my hook or needle, whatever you want to call it, off. And from here on out, I'm going to have two running strands. And I'm going to have one working strand. So what I need to do is I need to make my running strand, this running strand, longer. And, oops, I left my scissors. There. I got them. So I'm going to obviously make my slit in each one. Okay, there's my running strands. You want to keep two running strands from here on out because it makes it supports the side of your basket better. Now, when I was making my tool, I talked about at the end of it that my dad made me a tool. This was a piece of wire coat hanger that we cut, bent together, made a little eye at the end, and then he soldered this whole thing together and filed it so it was nice and smooth so it wouldn't catch the material and get stuck up in here. So this is the tool that I typically use because my daddy made it for me. And yeah, so I just thought I'd show that, got it out, showed you guys. Oop, gonna lose it. So I'm gonna put it away, and I'm gonna continue to use the one that I've already made myself. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your, this will be your working piece. And just like how you started the center piece is going to be kind of how you start the side piece. But what we're going to do is I'm going to use the needle just like that, just so I can get this through real easy. And I want to put it right here. Doesn't really matter if it's over here. I think that would be a little bit too far away from the starting area. And you just kind of pull it through. Take your now for this little bit from here to about here, you're going to have 3 strands to work with. Or if you had run it out to the end. No, never mind. For the first little bit, you're going to have 3 strands, but after you use up this little piece, you're not going to need to worry about adding on to it, because you'll have these 2, and these are the 2 runners that you're going to want to keep. So you have this pulled through, and literally you're going to knot it good and tight, just like that. Alright, then you're going to go to your other end. Now you could do like an actual knot right there if you wanted to, but I think that'd be an overkill because it gets basically sewn in to the rest of this, so it's not going to come undone. And you get your material on your needle. Okay, so still kind of the same way. I'm going to pull my chair up and sit down while I do this. Kind of the same way, but instead of coming out flat, you're going to be coming up and over. So now you have your, we're just going to call this 2 runners. You have your 2 runners and you have your working yarn. You take it, you put it through your next stitch or hole, whichever you want to call it, through, under, over, and pull up. And instead of letting it go out like that, you're going to bring it up so that it's standing up from it and not going out. Okay, I'll do a few more. These first couple always seem to be the most difficult. You pull it towards yourself, it brings it to a more standing position. Again, you're still working counterclockwise. Now, sometimes the way to tell if you need to add a stitch, if you need to increase, is how far this loop is going to go. Like, if I do right here, that might make this loop a little bit too wide. So, see how much extra room there is right here where I just went in at? There's all that extra room. So it might show me that I need to do another stitch, but I'm going to go ahead and try without doing an increase. Okay. Oh, that's doing good. Probably won't have to increase because I don't need it to be any bigger than what it is. But you also don't want your loops being super long between each one. There we go. And then something else that you can do that helps keep this formed is just kind of tug on your running yarn or running material, whichever you want to call it, and it kind of pulls it a little closer. Okay, now you're seeing all this kind of gathering up. So when this happens, just take it and yank it off and throw this extra away, because this bunched up won't look good. But a little bit of fraying here and there makes it look nice and shabby chic. So I'll do a couple more. And really all you have to know is how to make a knot, because that's really all you're doing. You know, you don't have to worry about any kind of purl this, double crochet, or anything like that. Now, if you are a crocheter or a knitter, you can totally use this kind of material in crocheting. You'll just have to use, obviously, a bigger crochet hook, like I think an N. In fact, I have one, but I'm not going to get that out because that's not what we're doing today. Today is the no crochet Amish knot toothbrush rag rug made into a basket. Okay, so you can kind of see there's a wall being built. I'm gonna go on around, and when I get back around to the side, I'll show you how I just move up and keep on going. You just make a big swirling, spiraling basic staircase, and just keep going until you've gotten to the height you need. But I'll come back around to here, and then I'll come back on camera and show you the switch over, and maybe show you the switch over twice, and then just finish. I usually do about 5 or 6 rows. The bottom was about 7 rows out from the center, and I just kind of counted. I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this last row I counted as 7. So I tried to get it to where it was kind of even all the way around, and then I'll do about 6 rows up and consider it done. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go get this round done, and then I'll come back. Okay, you're seeing 2 baskets out here now because I got through this one and thought I had turned on the recorder to show how I did this joining here and up onto the second row. Somehow the recorder didn't turn on, so I already had another one started because I have several baskets that I need to get done, and at the end of this I'll tell you why. So I am nearly at the join on this other basket. So I'm going to finish that real quick. I've got one more stitch to do there. Ooh, it's knotting up. What do I have going on here? There we go. Okay. Now I am where I'm going to join. I'm going to totally skip anything over, under, and I'm just going to thread through this first little loop right there to close up this first round. Okay, now that closes up my first round. I'm going to bring my running running yarn, and I'm going to go back through that same loop that I just went through, but this time doing the whole through, under, over. See, I'm using one of those pieces that's a little too long, and I'm getting it tied up on itself. Also, I'm getting lots of fray, so I'll probably stop and pull off some of those frays here in a minute. Now, if you are kind of person that ends up pulling things too tight all the time, like me, you can use a popsicle stick to put in here so that you can keep it from getting too tight, so when you come back around the next time, you've got your area, because as you pull, you could accidentally get that tightened too much and end up missing, or end up making it too hard to thread back through on the next time around. So, get my running yarn to one side here. I'm going to do a couple of stitches just so you can see. Well, actually I can just use this one. You can see the second row. You can see some depth coming. I'm going to go up about 5 or 6 rows up before I say that I've got my depth on my baskets. So I'll be back when I have probably 6 rows on this one to show you how to finish it off, show you the handle, and all that good stuff. So I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Okay, I am back. I've gotten my basket as deep as I want it. I have just a few more stitches to do to close it up. This is my last actual stitch that I'm doing. Okay. Here's my joining stitch that I use, just to make sure I've got each round leveled out. Then I can take my tool off, set it to the side. Now what I like to do is, I still have a whole bunch of extra running. I usually take one runner and my working yarn and give it a good tie. Now if I was going to just leave it like this, I would tie off this next one as well, which I'll go ahead and do just so you can see. Tie it good and tight. And then I would cut off and work the tail in through the stitching. And you would just use your tool to kind of run it through, pull tight, and cut off the excess, and then you kind of work it back out to, well, you know what, I'll show you. Let me get my tool. Go ahead and show you with this one, that way in case you don't want to do a handle, you can just have you work it under the stitches. A good ways. It's a little hard to start, so don't get discouraged. Okay. Now I like to go a little bit further. I'll show you why. Okay. So what I like to do, because if you cut it right here, you're still going to see this little excess. So you give it a little snug pull, okay, and then cut just a little bit out from there, and then straighten it back out, and now it's gone. You can't see where that tail went. You could do that with the other two as well, and then you just have a handleless basket. But I'm going to show you how to make a handle as well. I'm going to pause and get the materials and come back and show you what I do. Alright. Okay. For the handle, you're going to get 6 strips, and they're going to be just a little over a yard long. You want them to be kind of long because you're going to braid this. You're going to take all 6 and you're going to knot it at one end. You're going to knot it loosely because when you're done, you're going to actually undo this knot. Okay, and then you're going to separate it so that you have 3 strands of 2, and then you're going to braid them. And you need to braid it tight. Because you need a stiff braid. And in case you don't know how to braid, in case you haven't been taught, or you're young, you're young and you just take right over center, then left over center. And each time you do a right over or a left over, that becomes your new center. And you might have seen just right there, there's one of those knottings that you can do to make a longer piece. I have some rolls of this green already pre-knotted together. I was going to do an actual crochet rug, but I realized I don't like the crochet rug as much as I like the knotted rug. To me, the knotted rug is more calming. And you don't have to do, like, this basket is all one color. I have this other basket where I've got a little bit of green down in the bottom. You know, if you've just got extra material laying around that you put into strips, you can mix match your materials. That's okay. You know, it's a way to use up, some bigger leftover pieces that you don't quite have enough to do a full project with, but you still like the material. You can use it in this material weaving. And you do your braid until you have your handle made to the length you want it. I like that length, so that's where I'm going to stop for my braiding. So what I do next is here at where I joined, and I have some extra pieces, I take get my other tool. I take 3 of the pieces and weave it through from the back side or the inside of the basket to the outside of the basket. And I just pulled it through. Okay. And then, and all I'm doing is like which one I pick to put in through the back side is the one that's towards the back of the braid is the one I put through the basket. And then the other one I have meeting up on the outside, just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same with this last one. So I have 3 that I've put through the basket. All I did there was kind of went in between 2 because I didn't like how loose it felt right there. That's all. Okay, so now I have my 3 woven in from the inside to the outside. And I'm just knotting off the pairs. Like so. And the other part, the leftover material is already knotted, so I don't have to worry about doing that. Okay. I'll show you what I do with that in a minute. Okay. Then I said, you know, make it a loose knot at the other end because you're going to undo it. So here's where you're undoing it. You're going to find your left, right, and center, and then just try to get it to go straight across. What you feel like is straight across. You don't want it back here or up there. You want to go as straight across from the other handle as possible. Get your tool. Get the one that you're going to put inside to the outside. And pull it through. Okay, and now I'm going to do this one. And I'm going to pull it through. And then this one. And pull it through. And then knot them off. Okay, there's your basket. Now, what I like to do is I like to take all the excess, and I like to have like about an inch hang down from the bottom, and I just cut it off. Turn it over, do about the same. And then I just kind of make sure everything's laying in a pretty fashion. There you go. Now, if you don't want to, you know, if you want to have something to do with all these, you could go around and add extras around the edges so that it all has this fringe around the outside of it. So there is that one done, and I have 3 others done for a total of 4, plus the one that I still have to put the handle on. This is for the girls at work, for the contest I've talked about a little bit. As I ask questions for the girls at work, they text me back the answers, and each answer gets them a prize, and the prize is going to go in these baskets. One of the girls at work was really excited when I said I was going to start this game, and she asked super excitedly if I was going to give any of the projects that I'm doing on my YouTube channel as the prizes. And I was like, no, because I felt like in the back of my head that was kind of cheating and being cheap, to, you know, just like give away things that I was making just to be making. But the look of disappointment that I saw when I said no, I was kind of shocked, and it really made me think, and I felt like she would have really appreciated something handmade. So that got me thinking, and I decided to make the baskets so that they each have something handmade from me, and then maybe do some other contests at work that they might get something that I've made. You see my shadow hands. I talk with my hands a lot, and so if you see my shadow hands and it bothers you, just let me know. And if you want to see one with the fringes all the way around, if you want to see me add this all the way around, comment down below, let me know. If you've made these a different way, let me know. Obviously, if you like this, please let me know. And as always, if you like it, comment, share, subscribe. And with that, I'll catch you on the next one.